Yo, welcome to Sidebar Saturdays, where we break down what's happening in the world for the culture and also for the people, right? So this one, let's jump straight into it. So let's talk about education. So we there have been a lot of reports on this as of like recently and just over the last 4 years. Reading scores in the United States is dropping, right? And I have a theory or an idea of why it's happening. I actually, again, like I've said in previous videos, I was in the classrooms at this time, and I kind of saw like the engagement levels of the students in the classrooms during those times. And so it was kind of easy to predict that reading scores and reading levels would drop. I just didn't know how deep it was going to be, but I definitely knew that it was going to drop based off of just what I was seeing in the classrooms at that time, literally trying to facilitate distance learning. Like, distance learning is definitely not for everybody. It's only for like a select few people. And I feel like you have to be sort of motivated, or you have to have some type of support system or guidance or structure or somebody kind of enforcing things on that end. So, it really is a detriment, though, too, that it has affected folks in the United States so much, students in the United States so much, and it's really like that will translate to like like a generation, or like almost like a demographic of folk who are just like they will have harder times learning and gaining their education, and it's kind of sad because our parents didn't get a chance to have the amount of access to information, and the amount of information that we have today. And we have so many different opportunities to learn about just different things that are happening around us and the things that we are actually interested in. And a lot of this is because of like technology and also like social media. And the world tried to use that in its benefit and for its like greater good. But I think, folks fell short, and honestly, it was like it just popped out of the blue. So it ain't like folks had an adequate amount of time to learn how to properly facilitate it, and like how to properly teach on like, from distance learning, right? So, it is really unfortunate. I do hope that folks like we figure out ways to teach online. Again, like one of the biggest things that is happening in the culture is the little Hillman Talk University, with folks like actually having classes on TikTok and like teaching people different things on TikTok. So, that's pretty dope. But yeah, folks ought to definitely take education as a whole into our own hands. As far as like the different communities go, as you guys start to see some of the disparities. Also for the parents out there, make sure y'all own y'all kids, man. Especially my black parents, like make sure y'all own y'all kids about their reading scores, about their academics as a whole, right? No matter if they into sports and you're pushing sports, make sure that y'all own them as far as like their academics go, because this is going to dictate how much like information that they can like comprehend and that they can use, and that they can use to navigate the world that they're in, and also the different people that they come across, so yeah, like, that was one thing that I saw that was really concerning, right? Was the drop in reading scores around the nation. um yeah, that was very, very concerning. And to add on to that, right, we have Donald Trump cutting the Department of Education. This one is weird because like I get the government bureaucracy thing, and like, we're trying to limit that and get rid of that altogether. But at the same time, when I think about his whole economic strategy, and we're going to get more into this as we go on, but it's like, they want to bring manufacturing jobs back to the United States, and then they want to cut education. I'm telling you, like, education has been cut like every year since I've been like alive. Like every single time I can just remember, it's always been a debate on education being cut, you know, and it's weird because it's like they're bringing manufacturing jobs here, they're cutting education, and the thing is that like through education, folks, and I get what they're mad at. They're mad at the fact that folks are becoming educated and they can see through the layered classism and they can see through the layered racism, and so then they call it out. And so now because they call it out, now it's a problem, right? Like, okay, yeah, y'all too educated because y'all can see the game that we're playing with y'all and the way that we're trying to control things. And then like this group of folks over here are fine with it. And that's because they don't understand how all of this stuff works. They don't have like that educated mind to be able to like look at the different components of like a system, right? Like when folks start to see through the game, like, you know, think about Kendrick Lamar and his Super Bowl performance, right? It's like, you know, America is a game. And like, if you see through the game, then you can conquer the game like him, right? You have to be able to see through the game. And a part of seeing through the game is also you have to play the game, right? Because we're all inside of the game, right? So, you know, it's interesting. I always say, like, you know, they really want college students to just be like more technical and build things that make them money rather than challenging the $1 billion status quo, right? With Trump, it's like niggas thought that they were getting stimulus money. At least like some of the Trump supporters that I know, right? They thought they was getting like Stimmy Part 2, but instead Trump is about to have niggas picking that digital cotton in them damn factories. So yeah, you know. And then on top of that, right? Again, they're cutting the funding and cutting things from the Department of Education, right? They're cutting a lot of different things, but right now we're just gonna talk about the Department of Education. And one of the things that is getting hit the most is the Office for Civil Rights, right? It's losing nearly half of all of its staff due to layoffs by the Trump administration, significantly impacting the office amid backlogs of complaints, right? So just it's like all of the civil rights divisions are getting suspended or, you know, staff is getting laid off, they're getting limited. So, you know, it's odd. Like to me, that's really odd. You know, it's like they're really trying to ensure that you cannot fight racism, you know, and that they can discriminate against you in a way that they want to, which is, you know, weird. All right, y'all. So next on the sidebar list, I wanted to talk about the Target economic boycott with like Target and DEI. So my thoughts on that, y'all, is Target. You can say that it was performative, but then you can also say it was kind of real, right? Because it was like real tangible things happening. It was more than just marketing, right? We got products on the shelves in Target. But then at the same time, the fact that they like kind of just snatched it away, like as soon as they got pressure, it just kind of showed that it might not have been as much of a genuine commitment as folks would have thought it was. It's like soon as profits declined, they just snatched the whole program away instead of pivoting and restructuring the initiative, right? Because that's what you do when you really care about something. You're like, okay, boom. So we're not making as much money off of this as we thought. Plus, we're getting all this political pressure. So let's go ahead and restructure our approach, right? So, and we didn't see that, right? We was like, oh, okay. As soon as this pressure, snatch, right? To me, that's a problem, and that shows that it was probably a little bit more performative than folks would have thought, right? However, I will say that, you know, I had some conversations with my folks, and there is leadership, black leadership in Target, right? Like you even hear about it online. Like folks is like, yeah, you know, I have my black executives that I know and blah, 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 right? So it is black leadership in Target. So that is a good thing. And that definitely does show some type of tangible commitment, right? Even like some of the stores that I'm familiar with in Los Angeles have black store managers, right? And those stores are ran well, right? So, and, you know, these are some of the things that folks don't know about, folks don't talk about. On top of that, let's just go ahead and continue on. So, in my personal opinion, right, and also it's probably shared amongst a lot of folks, but DEI started failing when it expanded past black initiatives. I think everybody was kind of cool with black initiatives, but when it became diluted, right, and now we have the LGBTQ folks now. They're getting, you know, I think that what marked the decline of it is when Target started promoting those gender neutral kid clothes. I think it was like over with at that point. Not really over with at that point, but it had damaged the movement completely. Like that just stayed black. Like, okay, yeah, we just want to make sure that we are giving visibility, right? Visibility to people who have been marginalized intergenerationally, right? I think that we wouldn't be where we are today as far as Target goes, but also just in a broader context as well. So, you know, once we saw that, everybody started kind of peeling back their their DEI initiatives because, you know, that's when the pressure came. I think folks was kind of ignoring it when it was black folk. They was like, okay, yeah, whatever. But, you know, you had some folks in the cut in the corners complaining. But for the most part, folks weren't really tripping until we diluted the movement with other, you know, groups of people. And again, I'm not against any group of people. I'm not against the LGBTQ folks, like I said in like my past videos, not against them at all. But it just seems that like once our movements and once our theories and once everything that we do, because we do want like everybody to be free, liberated, whole, you know, have opportunities. We want those things for everybody. But then it's like our movements become co-opted and commingled with like other folks. And because of that, that then shifts us back, right? Because now we're taking on, if your movement, if we allow y'all into, if we allow everybody into our movements, what happens is now we take your enemies, we take your haters along with your supporters, right? And if you have more haters than you do supporters, then, you know, it's not gonna, you're not adding value to to intertwining into the intertwining movements, right? Or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of like just the synopsis of what happened there, right? It's like we have to stop diluting our movements, man. Every single time we've done that since like, you know, the 60s, we always lose the whole movement. All right, y'all. So, yeah. And so personally, I feel like also boycotting Target is just not the best idea. I know we got a lot of big folk playmakers, you know, NAACP pastors supporting the boycott of Target. But like just like other folks have said before, there are black owned brands still being sold at Target and that hurts them. And we are not distributing that smoke across the board. And I don't like how we're just being selective with Target because Amazon rolled back their DEI initiatives and we're still shopping Amazon, right? There's no economic blackout for Amazon. Meta, right? We're still on Instagram, right? We're still on Facebook, right? And we're still on those platforms, right? Who else? Microsoft, right? We're still using the computers, right? We're still using all the services, right? We're still using ChatGPT and all these different services that they provide, Microsoft Office. We're not boycotting across the board, right? So I get it. And I will say one thing that I do like about the boycott, so is that they are actually showing some type of results, right? I'm not like against it. Like, you know, y'all do y'all, but I don't think it is effective. You know, I do like the fact that a group of black folk decided something, enacted it, and it's actually yielding some results, right? So like Target stock is down because of this. That's actually a good thing, right? I feel like Target should have stood on business with their DEI initiatives because they were actually becoming like community, right? Like you go to the new Target in Inglewood, right? Like you go to these different places and it's like, okay, they're actually kind of becoming a part of the community, and then they backed out. But yeah, so, you know, that's that. I don't think boycotting will work. All right, y'all. So, with this being said, though, right, when we look at DEI being dismantled, when we look at the education department being dismantled, and we look at a plethora of all of these other things, it is very important that we begin to upskill, right? So I just want to place that there for a little bit, right? Upskill means that we target and we acquire skills that are beneficial for the new emerging economy, getting acclimated with new technologies, finding areas of expertise that are in emerging fields, right? Like folks should really be doing their research on what's on the horizon. All right. And that's, you know, AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, like these things are like universal, right? Those three things that I mentioned are going to be in every industry. So you should learn all that you can about it. So that way you can start to think about how you can fit in whatever industry that you are. Like, how can you get acclimated to these technologies and these different things that are happening in our job market and in our society? And I'm gonna touch back on that a little bit later. But yeah, y'all. So let's real quick, I want to talk about this Captain America movie, right? Because I saw a lot of folk on the right hated it, right? But like I thought the movie was dope, right? I thought Captain America: Brave New World was dope. I'm a black man, and I saw my dad in the original Super Soldier, right? It was like, I ain't gonna lie, that kind of hit home for me because like when we think about that generation of people, right? My dad was born in 1938. He kind of looked like the dude too. And, you know, he was a part of the silent generation, right? And these was like, they was still sharecropping, you know, and they were like our super soldiers. If we talk about the black community, the silent generation are the ones who really fought and laid down that foundation for us, by just surviving, right? Like literally, like times was super hard at that time, right? And you think about what the original super soldier had to go through, you know, like you think about just the notion of a black man being the original super soldier of the nation, right? And you think about how black people, like you think about black people's role in building America, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, we almost were the original super soldier. Like when you think about why we were even chosen as, you know, for chattel slavery, it was because we were superior, because we were, you know, the super soldiers, you know, and then think about like just the whole entire journey, right? When we think about the Tuskegee Airmen and we think about the Civil War, we think about the music that we've made and the culture and how we have significantly enhanced the culture of America, right? It gets deep, you know, so I'm like, that's dope. That was super dope. Like, you know, and I think people really need to like learn how to gain some type of appreciation. Like it don't have to always be all white all the time. You know, like I feel like black and white people, especially like the foundational black folks that was here, like on the fields, like intergenerationally, and the white folks, like the most American that it gets. You feel me? And I just think that it's just so much hate for black history and the black celebration of our history and our lineage and what we've came through and stuff like that. And I think that needs to stop. You know, I think they need to celebrate with us. They need to be like, man, black folk, man, da, 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 right? So just a couple more things that I had to say about the movie. You know, we had the dude that was super smart. I think his name was Serpent. I'm getting it right. I don't feel like looking it up right now, but you know, he was super smart, but he did not plan for Captain America, right? You know, the black Captain America. And it almost reminds me of Elon Musk and Trump, except Trump is like letting Elon Musk outside, right? For those of you who saw the movie, right? Like the dude was like in a cave. He had a big old brain mishap that the president actually at the time, he was responsible for. And anyways, you know, Trump, like, and the serpent or the, you know, the brainiac dude, he was controlling, he was advising the president, but he was so smart that he was actually manipulating the president through advising the president. And he just never let him outside. But the dude had like a brain, like they put the gamma waves that instead of putting the gamma waves in like your body, like for like, you know, what's the dude's name? Hulk. They put it into bro mind, and then, you know, he got like a super strong mind or whatever. So he was able to think like some, you know, so many steps ahead and think about all these different things. He was like Chat GPT basically. And somebody said, and yeah, so Serpent, I mean, he was controlling and manipulating the president from a backdoor deal that he did before he even took office. Right. And that part again, like it's just so many correlations between like what's happening now in this administration and what that movie kind of showed. And I'm like, damn, did they know this was happening beforehand? Because the movie came out and Trump was like, I'm quite sure they was shooting this before bro was president, right? Before he won the election, before he was inaugurated. So for them to have this type of foresight is actually dope. But, you know, so he was because the president had backdoor deals. He was able to be manipulated by this dude, right? And that might not even necessarily pertain to Elon Musk manipulating him, although, you know, it might be a little bit of something there because I'm starting to see that Donald Trump's talking points all reflect things that Elon Musk used to say on Twitter, right? So, you know, you never know. And then, you know, once the president wasn't able to give old boy what he wanted or what he was asking for, which I believe, I forget. It's been a minute since I've seen the movie. But because the president wasn't able to give him what he needed and what he wanted, which I believe he wanted to come out into the world and be like, he wanted to live like a regular life, get some type of cure or something to where he can look normal. I'm not sure though. I could be wrong. And, the president just wasn't able to do that. And so because he was not able to fulfill an obligation from a backdoor deal that he had before, he crashed out. Basically, the serpent dude, brainiac dude, he crashed out and he caused all this havoc and mayhem. He even caused the Hulk. I mean, not the Hulk, but he caused the president to like turn into a Hulk-like figure too, because the backdoor deal was something with the gamma waves and trying to save him or something like that. Again, I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. I actually have my notes that I'm looking at just to remind me. But I love the movie, right? And that's something that we also should think about too, because it's looking real weird right now. Like, I know Donald Trump had the thing with Russia, but that's still looking weird right now, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's looking weird right now, like with Trump and Putin. Like, he really trying to be cool with bro. And I'm like, man, we America, like, you don't got to be cool with bro, But hey, it is what it is. That's another topic for another time. Anyways, what I got from that movie, though, too, is that black folk are going to defend America from itself like we've done before. And I can kind of see that happening, but I think that the black community and black culture as a whole needs to go through a transformation phase, in which we are, right? And I feel like it's almost a good and a bad thing, right? Because it's happening through like these different podcasts, right? But the problem is, or the interesting thing is that the podcasts are also contributing to the problem at the same time. It's like they're both contributing to the problem and the solution at the same time. So I'm not sure how much ground that we're gaining if we're taking 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. So I don't know. We'll see. But to me, that movie kind of gave me that impression. Bro, I love the fact that he freed his elder in honor, right? And the president ended up in jail because of the revenge from the backdoor deal. But yeah, like, I just thought it was dope, right? It's like he freed the elder that was in prison, right? The elder that was imprisoned because he was being controlled, and, basically the elder got misappropriated. We can almost say that, right? Like, if we want to try to like really string some shit together, the elder got misappropriated. He got used and framed to commit a crime against the president, which then got him imprisoned. And so, Black Captain America did his thing, proved it throughout the movie. They freed him, right? He made sure he went to go free his elder and his ancestor, right? But then the president ended up going to jail because of the backdoor deal that he made, and everybody found out that Brody was the Hulk, right? I mean, really, or he had this, weird, like, bro, infected with the gamma waves, and if he get angry, he turned into a red Hulk, right? So I thought that was dope. And then one super duper compelling thing that I feel like a lot of black folk and a lot of men face in America. The quote, bro said, what'd he say? It was at the end of the movie, and it was a moment. And he said something to the nature of, if I'm not on point, I won't be enough, and I'll let people down. Right. When I heard that, it really resonated, because I'm like, folks really need to lean into their strength, and all of this, like, let me say, like, okay, mental health and take care of your mental health is an important thing, but I also feel like we need to take care of our mental health in a way that builds strength and resilience, right? And not hiding behind it and not using that as a cover and as a shield, right? So again, movie was super dope. And then it ended with I by Kendrick Lamar. Like, Kendrick Lamar had a dope American week, because that came out the same week as the Super Bowl. And he had the American performance with Uncle Sam at the Super Bowl. And then Kendrick ended the movie with his song I, which in my personal opinion is one of Kendrick's greatest songs ever, right? Just like from a Black American, just life experience type of thing, connecting with the ancestors all the way up into the present day Black person. Like, if you look at the lyrics, it's a dope ass song and very important and very uplifting. And so when he topped it off with that was dope. And then the simple fact that the movie is called Brave New World at that, fire. So yes, y'all, super duper dope, super duper dope, super duper dope. I cannot complain about that movie. I liked it. And I think a lot of folks should try to like it as well. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't like it, but I liked it. I like the little nuggets in the movies like that. So let's go ahead and move on. We got, just talking about some politics and economics right now. So again, like I said earlier, Donald Trump, as of recent, it just sounds like he has a lot of Elon Musk talking points. Like when I hear him speak, it's like a lot of recycled lines from Elon Musk's Twitter posts and things that he's talked about in the past, and also just like pop, like or right wing mainstream conversation right now is like everything that Trump is like saying right now. So it's almost like if bro even like, I don't know. It just seems like he's like influenced more than like leading at times. At times, right? I think the tariff thing is all him because in Project 2025 they say reduce tariffs. Um, so yeah. Another thing I saw, Elon got smoked when Trump said "drill, baby, drill" at his most recent speech because Crody mad because the thing is that Tesla got its footing under Obama because Obama was about clean energy. He was signing all those initiatives, giving all those subsidies. So bro really built his shit off the backs of, Democrats and Elon and Obama and Gavin Newsom, right? Which is what's crazy, right? They really made Tesla. You feel me? Um, so yeah, they like I said, they gave him majority of the stuff that he said today. And it's funny because now he's siding with the ops, right? And I don't think that Republicans are like ops. I mean, in this right now, yes, they're like completely opposed to like everything black right now. Like there's no celebration or no upliftment or anything of anything black. So yes, they are ops. So he sided with the ops though, only to realize that they were more op-ish than he actually realized, right? They are not fucking with none of that green energy shit. He bought a ticket to the White House and got treated a certain way because of how much money he paid, but they're not like fucking with a lot of the shit he stands for. Only the new shit he stands for, but none of the stuff that built him and made him who he is. Right. Trump pursuing this relationship with Putin behind the scenes, to me, is going to blow up in America's face. It really seems like him and Putin is closer than they should be. To me, it's like Trump is trying to go oligarch for oligarch with Putin when you had all the billionaires at the inauguration up there chilling. And, Elon Musk bought his way into the government, which is crazy. Right. And it's weird because like, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, their whole campaign is ignoring what actually made America successful from just like the diversity of skills and experiences and ideas, right? They're trying to like kill diversity. It's funny how like I saw a clip of like Putin talking negatively about like just race, and I just think like, bro, you in a country of all like Russians, like why are you saying these things just for like clips, However, just on the topic of Russia, and talk about Ukraine and Zelensky, it might have been to his detriment, but Zelensky stood on business. He did not allow Trump to punk him as much as he could while still like having a morsel of respect, right? It is gonna look bad for Zelensky, but at least it shows that somebody pushing back against, the master negotiator, the master deal maker, right? Because it's like you couldn't make a deal with a dude who desperate. You disrespecting him, making him feel little and small, and not only little and small, but you also lying about how the war started. So, that's kind of odd. But yeah, it definitely shows like it kind of exposes a gap in his negotiation tactics. All right, y'all. So let's talk about some of these executive orders. There are very few, if not any, if not completely regressing any benefits that Black of America has made. A lot of them are actually rolling back a lot of racial equity initiatives instead of enhancing them, right? And it's crazy because it's like, bro, none of these things are helping America make money, right? They're not even like I'm confused as to like even what Doge is doing around that, and they're trying to like take money from anything that had anything to do with DEI. When again, it's like folks need to understand how to look at both sides of the coin. Like even with like Elon Musk, right? It's like, bro, you're like supposed to be one of the smartest people because you built these companies, but I don't think that people who build great companies are actually smart people in every facet of life, right? Like it's like you can be a genius engineer, but a idiot when it comes to, social, just the social aspect of human beings, right? It's like, bro, you should look at both sides of the coin. Like, yes, you looking at DEI from the right wing perspective of everybody else, and they're going to say that, oh yeah, it discriminates against people, blah 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 blah. But in reality, black folks have been discriminated against in a workplace for I can't tell you how long, right? And what DEI was meant to do was it was meant to provide visibility to the people, to people who companies would not look for and would not like be in positions to capture, right? Like people who are qualified, are ready, have the aptitude, have everything that they need, but they just can't, they don't have access to the opportunity. That's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to provide access to people who are capable, right? But instead it became something else. We can even look at some of these things too, like ending racial and wasteful DEI programs and preferencing. So just that's him literally allowing Elon Musk to go in there and delete everything that has to do with DEI funding, right? Ending illegal discrimination and restoring merit-based opportunities, right? So this one rolls back affirmative action policies, making it harder for black workers and students to access opportunities meant to correct historical injustices, right? A lot of these programs are created because like DEI and affirmative action, all these things were created to address the historical intergenerational disadvantage that, Jim Crow, racism, and even like just that underbelly of corporate racism that black folk have faced up in this country up until like the 2000s, right? Restoring death row or death penalty, right? That was weird. What else? Ending racial indoctrination for K-12 schooling. So they don't want you to talk about systemic racism and black history in schools anymore, which is weird, right? Because to me, it's like, if you are not talking about these things and you want to limit folks who are talking about them, then to me, it's like you are siding with the folks who were racist all along. Like even back in that time, right? You're siding with them. That's the folks you want to identify with. That's the folks you want to side with. It's like, nah, like you shouldn't learn about them people because I'm that guy, right? I'm that racist person. Like that is what that seems like to me. Is what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to be like, yo, check this out. I actually identify with him. I actually agree with a lot of things that these people is on, so we not gonna make them look bad in school. And it's like, bro, that ain't even a point. If you side with the white abolitionist, then yeah, forget them people, man. Fuck them racist people, man. We ain't fucking with them. But y'all want to restore that shit, right? Y'all want to make sure that they have a good name and a good slate. Weird. And then there are a bunch of other ones too that I'm not gonna get into, but yeah, y'all, like, that was goofy. And then let's talk about these tariffs. So we got the tariffs, we got alcohol and wine. We getting hit with tariffs. We hitting them, they hitting us with tariffs, about 200% on European imports, steel and aluminum. That's going up. Canada metals. Man, it's crazy. Consumer goods. So EU and Canada are placing counter tariffs. So those things are definitely going to raise prices on United States imports and imports and exports. Energy. China hit us with a counter tariff. We out here catching hella tariff fades, right? We have country specific tariffs, right? So yeah. European Union proposed 200% tariff on alcoholic beverages, 50% on American whiskey. Mexico, man, it's getting crazy, y'all. It's getting crazy. So just my insights on it, right? I don't think these tariffs are really going to address the fentanyl crisis that he claims it will, or that is one of the intentions behind it. And then also, too, he talks about this Gilded Age of America from the 1870s to the 1900s, using tariffs to shield American businesses from competing on a global market. I don't think that's a good idea. That actually goes against capitalism, right? For, the super capitalists, absolute is Republican folks. It's kind of weird. The landscape is different now. You can't use old tactics in a new world. So I'm not sure how that's going to land. Commerce and trade, it just operates on a whole new level now. You know, um, limiting competition only leads to two things, in my opinion, right? You get big headed, for one, if you haven't had to go against folk with different advantages and disadvantages, right? So you think that your way is the best way when in reality you go around the world, it actually isn't. Um, or the other side of it is that you can treat it like training, right? Like a fighter in a gym, you get challenged, but you never fully get tested though. That's the thing. So you can use it as training, like, okay, yeah, let's just like refine and build and build and build. But for me, I am going to side on the side of human nature. And I think that they're going to abuse this system that Donald Trump is creating with tariffs. And I don't think it's going to yield the results that folks think that they are. Like, yeah, I think that human nature is going to take over and people's greed is going to kick in. So, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to bring back the good paying jobs that folks actually need to survive in this economy, right? I don't think so. This is why the United States was so big on upskilling too, right? And, it's not really about trying to bring back the newly/OG manufacturing jobs. That's not going to cut it. I think the United States wanted to upskill back in the day. That's why we exported everything out. All of the menial labor, we exported that out to different countries because we were supposed to upskill here. But the problem is that schools in America, for one, college continuously got more expensive and funding always got cut for education. So that's one thing, right? Public schools stayed underfunded, especially like in Black communities and in low income communities. School funding is disproportionately distributed. And because school funding is disproportionately distributed, you have a disparity when it comes down to outcomes, right? And on top of that, they never even evolved the school curriculums to keep up with the third and fourth industrial revolutions as they were happening. And so folks are graduating and now there's no opportunities for you. Why? Because school never prepared you for opportunities of the third and fourth industrial revolution. Now you have to go to college and you have to do all these different things to get acclimated to the new world. Also, the cost of living is just not dropping. Housing prices are steady climbing, and Trump's economy is starting to look like sharecrop manufacturing. I wouldn't be surprised if corporations started to build housing and like they didn't even pay people, but they let you stay there for free. Like, you get me? Like, I can see that happening. That's weird. But because things are just getting more expensive, and I can see the vision of this economy that the Republicans are trying to implement. I can see the vision. The percentage of success to me is slim, right? It's at or under 50%, right? If I just sat down and analyze it, I could give you a better percentage, but it's at or under 50%. And I don't think that you should take those type of gambles in a economy and with the United States. Like, I don't think you take a 50% gamble with the United States. Like, this seems more of a economic culture war than it does an actual like reform. And then what's crazy is that Black folk is going to get it double time because civil rights protections are getting slashed, making it easier for folks to be denied jobs and denied education, denied any and everything. Right. So we're also going to get it double time because now it's going to be easier for these companies. At first, it was harder for them to deny us if we had the same qualifications due to policies like DEI. And some people even argue that it didn't even serve that purpose. But then on top of it, it's like now they actually have more leeway to deny you opportunities that you are suitable for, that you have the merit and you have the knowledge and you have the skills and everything for. Right. But hopefully that this could push Black folk further into self-reliance. I'm hoping that, because this is what happened last time during that Gilded Age, right? During that Gilded Age of high that Trump wants to take us back to. During that time, Black folk had to go figure it out. And so they did. right? Black folks started businesses. They hired each other. They had mutual funds that funded things in their community that they wanted to see and that they knew that they can benefit from. And so they created their own and they relied on themselves. And so I think that this is probably going to be one of those eras in which we have to do that. And, if that's the case, then, I think that'll actually end up being very beautiful, right? Remember, the time that Donald Trump is trying to take us back to is the 1870s to the 1900s, right? So, think about that. It was sharecropping like a motherfucker back then. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and move on. This is going to be long. I might break this up into like 3 parts. I ain't going to lie. Maybe like 3 parts, something like that. But let's talk a little bit of Kendrick Lamar's 40 Acres and a Mule. I just want to break this down for the people real quick, just because I know that there are a lot of people who don't know this. Like even, kids in the classrooms and, all across, right? This is something that everybody should learn, especially in the month of February. But when Kendrick Lamar said the 40 acres and a mule thing, I just want to break that down real quick, real concisely. So I got a quick excerpt on that. So 40 acres and a mule was a post-Civil War compromise made in 1865 by Union General William T. Sherman through Special Field Order Number 15, with approval from the Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton, to provide formerly enslaved black people with land for economic independence. However, after Lincoln's assassination, aka Lincoln got killed, President Andrew Johnson reversed the order, returning the land to white Confederate landowners and leaving black Americans without the foundation that they were promised. Right. So that's 40 acres and a mule. And then let's see. All right, y'all, last one, and then we up out of here. So let's talk about a little bit about the culture wars and, this Elon and Trump culture war, right? So I saw an interview, Elon Musk damn near crying. I saw an interview of Elon Musk damn near crying on Fox News about how hard it was to manage his businesses and do Doge. And I'm just like, bro, if he had approached this in a different way, and he could have did all the same stuff, but just approached it in a different way, he probably would have had a little bit more success or a little bit less pushback. But it's like, bro, he don't want America to go broke or bankrupt, yet he wants to launch an entire culture war with Trump against half of America. It's like, bro, what benefit do we get from you launching a culture war against us? Right. And I ain't even a Democrat, right? I'm an independent, right? I don't even fully support everything that the Democrats do. But when I look at his tweets and I look at all of the things that he says, is a lot of traces of anti-blackness in there. Just gonna keep that a buck, But yeah, like it's like, instead of trying to figure out the problem and also learning why DEI was needed in the first place, because a lot of times when you see something that you don't like, it's like, okay, well, what was the need for this? And then examine the need for it. And then it actually might justify its existence. But once you do that, if the need and the historical context don't justify its existence, then you can cut it. But it's like, you didn't do that. You just heard some shit from your daddy and you decide to start cutting shit. And that's just not how it go, bro. It's just not how it go. And that's why folks is not fucking with Elon right now. And they're like really, really strongly against him and his companies and everything that he got going. Because it's like, bro, you're against us. Right. Like your rhetoric and all the things that you sharing, all the things that you doing and all the things that you saying, instead of sitting down with some people and really figuring this shit out, you want to just go jump on shit and do it. Cool. But now folks are against you now because you did not want to take the time to fully understand where they were coming from. You just demonize and destroy. And hey, so now you got to deal with the backlash. Folks don't want to drive your cars no more. Nothing like that. I don't want to drive my car. I mean, I don't want to buy a Tesla. Tesla was on my list. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. When I get to this point, I'm gonna give me a Tesla. Nah, hell no. So yeah. Yeah. And like Elon, he didn't know that United States citizens was D1 crash outs when it came down to their Social Security and their Medi-Cal, right? Like, y'all even playing with that stuff and folks is ready to crash out. And I don't blame them. I used to be on all that stuff, and all those systems and all those benefits helped me out tremendously in my life. So I get it. Like, I get it straight up. I would crash out over them too. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, if it wasn't for those services, I would not be in this position that I am today, where I don't need them now. Like, right. Like, I'm able to contribute to the economy and contribute and do all these different things. And, my wife is able to too. And now I'm able to raise my kids in a better environment. is because we were able to like get some assistance along that way. And just playing with that, you playing with the whole American economy. Because if you want to be honest, right, just to keep it a buck, the return on investment of human capital is bigger than a return on investment for corporate tax breaks or like corporate investment, whatever, right? Corporate subsidies, all of those things. Because y'all not even creating jobs and things that are allowing people to live prosperous, happy, whole, full lives, right? You guys are hoarding that wealth, right? Like that money is sitting inside of companies, just a big old ball of money inside of an account or however the fuck is held. So, you know, so yeah, that's pretty much it though, y'all, for this Sidebar Saturday. Comment below on some of your thoughts, what you thought about some of the things that I talked about. I would love to engage in some conversation. You know, if it's enough folk, you know, maybe we might even bring some folks on to discuss some of these things. I don't know. But that's pretty much it, y'all. Without further ado, I will see y'all in like 2 weeks with sidebars. Peace.